Oh, welcome to Let's Talk Tottenham. Never a dull moment with Tottenham. Get rid of a manager. Apparently, bringing in a manager that we wanted 4 months ago, and it's taken. You thought 72 days was bad to get a manager. We've waited almost 120 to get Conte, and if everything's to be believed, and then we've got to talk about a dreadful result, toxic atmosphere. I think both my guests. I've got another guest as well. Brian, who's going to be with us in a couple of minutes, who was there as well. Toxic atmosphere, so we'll hear about that. I've got a United fan, possibly two coming on. They're friends of mine, so hopefully they'll be fairly nice. But at the moment, Adam, how you doing? Adam Matthews, always on. How you doing?
Good. Bit disappointed by the weekend. Went to the game. It was bad atmosphere, very toxic atmosphere. So a bit disappointing, but what can you do? We should be used to it by now.
Unfortunately, so yeah. And Tommy talks ball. TTB, how you doing?
Yeah, good. I'm a lot happier now. Nuno's gone. I said before the Saturday game, I don't really want him to go. I'll wait till Christmas, but it's just getting too much. It's getting too much now. And I was at the game as well. Adam, and it was deafening. That Lucas substitution, that was just a substitution. It was just deafening. And I think the Levy, like the ones that sit on the fence, were like, it's all related. So it's a bad substitution by a bad manager, which was a bad appointment by Levy. So I think it all combined at that specific point. And it was unbelievable. I'm just glad he's gone now, to be quite honest.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned your channel. There. I was on yesterday. You were hoping Nuno would be fired there, so you had something to talk about. I've got the Nuno news today, but then you'll be doing one tomorrow, and you've got the Conte news. So it's a kind of a seesaw thing. But yeah, Tommy Talks Ball. It's in the description anyway. But for people who don't know where people find it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. TTB, Tommy Talks Ball. I just done a stream about 5:30. So that was just a solo stream. It got quite busy, and you learn things. As we do this stream today, you're going to learn things. And I learned that the bloody compensation was £14 million to Nuno, which is crazy. So yeah, that went live earlier. So if you want to check that out, and just subscribe to my channel. Chris is on there a lot, excellent. And make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. It's an excellent channel, and I love being on it, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem. Pleasure to have you both, and Brian when he comes on, and the other guys as well. But yeah, we're obviously sad Spurs fans, so you've got to please like and subscribe to all Spurs channels that we need cheering up. So yeah, hit the like, hit the subscribe. It all helps the channel grow, and get your comments in. That also helps as well. But let's get down to it, Adam. Nuno's gone. It was fairly inevitable, wasn't it? I think it was just a matter of time, like Tommy mentioned there, Christmas, but it was kind of a matter of time. I mean, you were at the game. The noise for Lucas's substitution was loud on the telly. I was told by my dad, who went, and yourselves, it was deafening there. But Nuno gone after 10 games. You think that's the right thing?
Yeah, definitely.
How you doing, buddy?
All right, buddy. All right. How are we doing, Adam? How are we doing, Tommy? How are we doing, Chris?
Yeah, not too
it's
bad.
Pretty good, man. It's pretty good.
But yeah, Adam, Nuno gone. Good.
Good
thing, or
he wasn't the right fit for Spurs in the way he set us up and the way he plays. And he said when he came to Tottenham that he understood like the philosophy of our play, that we like to play with flair and attacking. But it seemed like he just didn't take that on. It just wasn't that. The way we played just wasn't Tottenham. The game on Saturday didn't register a shot on target. Every time we came forward, it broke down because we just had no creativity. We had no ideas. A lot of sideways, backwards passing. It just wasn't good. It wasn't good watching, and we can't have another game, a home game against a rival for top four, really. If we were going to go for top four, without registering a shot on target, it's just not on. It's just not on. No. So he had to go.
Yeah, let me just bring in Matt. Yeah, United fan, so be careful. You've got 4 Spurs fans here, but no, Matt, for as long as I do, you won't be that horrible. But we're just talking about Nuno. You've obviously seen the news on that. I mean, this was nicknamed our game El Sacchio, and we've actually won something because Nuno won El Sacchio. But you surprised?
Something is something. We'll take it.
Are you surprised that he's gone after 10 games, or do you think? Yeah, what do you think as an outsider, not a Spurs fan, but
not after Saturday? Like watching the game and then the highlights again after match of the day, just seeing that atmosphere in the ground, didn't stand a chance, did he really? But I don't quite know. Are you surprised that he was playing that style of football? Like, we've had Wolves in the Premier League for a number of years now. It's nothing new, is it? But it comes back to decision making, and I don't quite know why you hired him, to be honest.
Well, it's because of someone who's in charge of hiring. That's why we hired him. But yeah, I mean, Brian, thoughts on Nuno? Do you feel sorry for the guy? Do you think he had it coming? Do you think it was his own fault, or do you think he was going to hide him for nothing? What do you think of?
So first of all, how did I know you were coming to me after you mentioned the owner's name? How did I know you were coming to me? But yeah, all I can say. I mean, first thing I will say is, I don't know if you're sorry, Matt will feel this way as well. Then I'll go on to speak about Nuno. I had a very, very close friend of mine who's a Manchester United fan WhatsApp me when this started breaking like wildfire. It broke like wildfire yesterday, but today it really, really kicked on. And he sent me a message and go, "Do you know what? Manchester United may have won the game, but Tottenham have won the war." Because what we're going to get onto within the subject is quite frankly, I'm still in shock, but I'm very excited. Am I surprised Nuno was sacked? No. Do I think he deserved more time because of what was happening? I believe as a manager he deserved more time. But then when you look at the actual facts behind it, when you look at the amount of times, like Adam said at the beginning, no shots on target, 4 successive defeats in London derbies, losing them 10-1 on aggregate, the style of play, the lack of substitutions or the wrong substitutions, the in-game management, you can see the attitude of the players. They're like, we know this, that they've done this with managers. If they're not happy, they'll just act like little teenagers and little kids and just see the next manager off. Well, those days, they're over, because I don't think this new manager will take it. But listen, you never like to see someone lose their job. Apart from someone that might pocket £14 million for 4 months' work. Then you're like,
crazy.
Then you're like, yeah, do you know what?
That's almost double Steve Bruce.
It's ridiculous. It's sodding ridiculous. So, do I think he warranted the sack? On the basis, no, I don't, because he wasn't given the time, the backing, whatever. But when you look at the hard-earned facts and who Tottenham Hotspur are, or any football team, actually, no. If you're Manchester United, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. 4 successive defeats in like Northwest derbies or whatever. Let's say Liverpool, Man City. But obviously in London, you've got the more teams in this city than any other in the Premier League. The lack of attacking football, the lack of attempts, the way the players were acting, it's writing on the wall. It's writing on the wall. And I think the whole thing changed, and we'll get into it. I heard you saying it when I was getting ready. It all turned on that substitution. That's where this turned. And yeah, like I said, so I'll end it how I started it. Man U won the game, Tottenham won the war.
Tommy, it's obvious that we weren't creating chances, but Carragher put a stab. I was watching Monday Night Football, the preview before the game, and he's actually got 1 more point than Pochettino in his opening first 10 games. But Carragher made the point. Pochettino attacked, so there was something to get behind. Nuno didn't attack. We won every game by 1 solitary goal and got lucky in quite a few of those. So was it the right time for him to go for you, or do you think he deserved a bit more time?
If you gave me the choice, I probably would say if Conte's coming in, then 100% is the right time. It's the right time to sack anyone if Conte's coming in. So, but I still don't believe Conte's coming in. I'll be honest with you. That destroyed me in the summer because I invested all my emotions into Conte coming. I thought it was happening, but it didn't. And so did my emotions. My emotions, I kept that to one side. I didn't put too much of an emotional attachment onto rumours anymore. So I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced. That old saying, Bob, that old saying that Bob says, Brian, we know what it is. Until they hold the shirt, it's we can't take anything for granted. But I still got a funny feeling it's Fonseca. But look, if we get Conte in, it's a great time to sack Nuno. And as Carragher said, it's not the points at this stage. It's not even the points at this stage. It's the style of football. If you're winning games pragmatically, it's different. If you're losing games pragmatically and constantly conceding 3 goals, then yeah, he's untenable. There comes a time where he's going to be untenable.
I mean, just to add on top of that, I mean, and I've been saying it all day when I was in the studios at We Are Tottenham TV, and yesterday, there's still room for this to go wrong. I think it's way too far down the line now. If this does go wrong, Daniel Levy hasn't got a leg to goddamn stand on. It's like goodbye out. It's going to be toxic. But like, and Tommy mentioned it on his stream. I don't know if Tommy knows what I'm about to say, but I don't know if Adam and you, Chris, and Matt, you certainly won't know. This appointment this time, I've got quite a lot riding on it, because when the news broke yesterday, when I was with We Are Tottenham TV, I was so Levy's going to fuck this up. It's his hot air. It's this. I said, if this gets over the line, and I said it live on air, and 20-odd thousand people have watched it, I will get the We Are Tottenham TV logo tattooed on me. And I was so convinced that it weren't going to happen. That's what I put on the line. But obviously, it's come round, and if it does happen,
I hope you said it would be tattooed on your arm or something like that, not your face.
I was watching it. Do you know what, Brian? I was watching it, and for some reason, I thought you said forehead or neck, because I think you made that movement. You must have just made that movement. You must have made the movement when you said it or something. But I was sure.
I said, listen, before it started, I said I'm going to ask all the callers, give me a. I said I'm not having it on anywhere on my face, nowhere, not a chance. And I said I can't have it on my forearms because I've got Hebrew memorials for my grandparents, and there's no way I'm doing something around there. So then I said pretty much anywhere else, whatever. Some of the things I won't say right now, even though it's later. Let's just say private areas, and they're not going there. But there was talk down here. But I can tell you now, my wife has denied that unequivocally. It's like when I messaged her to say, listen, I made a bit of a stupid thing, and I've made these stupid bets. I've dyed my hair stupid. I've done stupid things. And I thought she was going to go crazy. She goes, that's a silly bet, isn't it? But she knows I'll go. I was thinking my hands. I'm actually really thinking there, but I might get it on my back. Below my nails. But it will happen. It will happen. If he signs, I'm a man of my word. It will be getting done.
Interesting. But Matt, I know you can't stay for a huge amount of time, so we'll obviously get on to United, and then we get that out of the way, and then we can get depressed about that and then move on to Spurs fans. But all the talk before the game was, you know, the Liverpool loss that you suffered, Solskjaer's job really on the line. The team have come out. It wasn't the greatest game in the world, but they've come out and fought for him. And the reactions of Ronaldo and Cavani in particular when they scored showed that it's not a manager that we don't care about. So is he now safe, or is it? I was on a United stream a couple of days ago, and they were saying that regardless of what happens, he wouldn't be sacked now, because then you obviously had us, Champions League game, and then the Manchester derby. So if he's going to be fired, it'll be after the Manchester derby, the international break. So do you think he's safe now after that result, and then it's let's see what happens, or do you think it's just one game down, and then if they lose the next one, or City, then it's back again?
Do you know what, mate? I don't think that Tottenham game is a good representation of where we're at, because I think it was obvious that Ollie was going to go for stability. I think it was obvious that he was going to go with Cavani and Ronaldo up front. Bringing Varane back was, he's fit. So, you know, put him in a 3-man defence with wing backs. You're taking all of those vulnerable players out of the spotlight. Like Luke Shaw and Bissaka have been terrible. But playing with Varane, like an extra defender in defence, like, you know, you're taking them out of that spotlight. So I wasn't surprised with his formation, but I think a mixture of stability, but also just the like I said, the atmosphere in the ground. I think all United had to do was get those goals and just be stable. And I think Tottenham, I don't know, for me, had it been against, I don't know, even like watching Crystal Palace and Brighton at the weekend, had it been against one of those teams, I think it would have been a better kind of representation of where we're at. But it's a win, which was more important than anything else for United. I don't know if Ollie's safe, but one thing I agree there, he's not going to get sacked before the City game. I think United, that you know, a lot of people say that United don't really have much tactical identity, but I think at the moment they are trying to implement an identity with being patient and building something. And that's the reason why maybe previous years, Mourinho and Van Gaal, maybe they would have reacted. But this time around, I think they're trying to look at the bigger picture. And it's interesting because the media want it to happen more than anything. It's the, after that Liverpool game, what do you do other than just drink? Because there's no
it was
point.
Old Trafford. That's being at Old Trafford is.
It was something else. But from what I've seen, like this past week, the players are behind him, and that's the first sign of this is bad. If those players give up, and there's rumours that some players have been saying things, but I don't think they're the key players. I think. You got players like Bailly and Van der Beek who've been very vocal, apparently. But it's not Ronaldo, it's not Bruno, it's not Harry Maguire. So I think he's got the team behind him. I think the board are trying to... I'm not saying they're succeeding. They're trying to appear like we've got a big... we're looking at the bigger picture. I think maybe ask me that same question in about 3 or 4 weeks after, but... At the moment, I think he's safe. I think I want Atalanta and City now just to kind of get a better idea of how we're doing.
Yeah. Couple of comments, Bob Spur. How you doing, buddy? Nuno should never have been offered the job. Mediocre manager, got mediocre results. Conte won't sign unless he's got full backing, which is why he turned us down last time. Levy shat his pants when he heard the Levy out, hopeful for a change. Big up to the protesters and streamers for pushing the Levy out narrative. No way on earth there have been Levy out chants. People like Daigle weren't at the forefront. Big up.
I'll tell you what, big up to Bob Spur. That stream on Sunday night was amazing. That was an amazing stream. You were there as well, weren't you, Daigle?
Yeah, I had a bit of a rant. I kind of went the old on a couple of occasions.
No.
And then talking TV, talking Tottenham TV, Jamie. How you doing, Jamie? We made United look like the old Sir Alex days. But I mean, Matt, were you surprised that I don't think Nuno helped himself? You conceded 9 goals in 2 games. Beguion's an attacking fullback on the bench. Ndombele's played quite well and certainly looked really good when he got space against Newcastle on the bench. Lucas Moura is the only player who looks like he's got any energy. Have a bath after 55 minutes, please. Were you surprised at how easy we made it for you by not mustering a shot on goal, and the fact that we didn't come out at you like a train, being that you conceded 9 goals, see what kind of reaction you give to being under pressure, and then in the end, the first one wasn't a counter-attack goal, but the last 2 goals were counter-attack goals and a very comfortable victory for you. So were you surprised at the lineup and essentially how easy we made it for you?
Yeah, totally. Because if I can predict how United are going to turn up, I thought surely Tottenham Hotspur would be able to do something similar and, know a way to, beat us. But it just felt like it's a, 5:30 kickoff on a Saturday. You've got a day there of having a few beers and stuff, getting into the ground. The atmosphere should have been electric and the team should have been up for it because United were there for the beating. But it just, I think the fact that, like I said, you get to a certain part of the game when you realise United have won this, and football shouldn't be that easy, especially at Premier League standards, should it? I was surprised, mate. I was totally surprised. I came away from the game just thinking we probably need Atlanta now and City just to kind of, because we won, but your question there. Is Ollie safe? It doesn't answer that question, unfortunately.
No. Well, you've said you were surprised. I'm going to ask the same question to 3 other people now, and I would imagine the answer is because they've supported Tottenham for a long while. No, but Adam, were you surprised at how bad we were?
Yeah, I was pretty surprised. I do think Man United were there for the taking. I don't think they played, particularly well. But we just didn't have the capabilities of doing anything. We just did not have the capability to do anything, any damage, anything to them. And that's what surprised me. That just our lack of desire, it was just a gutless performance, and we just had no ideas. And Man United thought they're not going to do anything to us. We're going to pick them off, and they did. So yeah, it was pretty surprising and extremely disappointing.
Yeah. I mean, Tommy, were you surprised? Certainly with the lineup changes. There's rumours that Reguilon was punished for having a party, but then he's on the bench. If you're in that much trouble and being disciplined, you don't even get picked. Surely, I mean, Davies could have got an injury after a minute, and then Reguilon's playing a full game anyway. But were you surprised that we didn't go at them like a train and try and see what they're all about after 9 goals conceded in 2 games, or was this what you expected under Nuno and Spurs at the moment, just flatless, gutless performance?
Well, I think this was Nuno trying to go at them like a train, but we know this, but he's failed miserably all season. He failed again Saturday. Do you know what? I don't even think we played that bad. I don't think we played any different to how we played this season. At 0-0, I thought we were all right. We're in the game. As soon as they got the first goal, that was it. Heads dropped. We just didn't believe we were getting back into the game. It was Man United didn't have to play that great. They didn't have to play that well. And as I said, as soon as that first goal in, everything changed. The atmosphere. I think the players believed that Nuno wasn't capable of getting this team back into it, and the substitutions coming were going to be shocking, like they have been all season, and they were. You can't take Lucas off in the 55 minute. Look, some of his passing isn't great at times, but he's the only guy that breaks the defence. He can break that centre midfield lock, and their biggest weakness is McFred. Let's face it. I mean, Man United fans will admit that. McTominay and Fred in centre midfield.
McFred, I've got to see what you did there. I was like,
I spend the time on a lot of Man United channels. It's just easy. It's like one syllable, isn't it?
Yeah, McFred.
Yeah, 2 syllables. But anyway,
I'll have a McFred, please.
We made them look like Xavi and Iniesta. You know what I'm saying? It's just when that starts happening, there are problems. There are underlying problems in the team. But again, I don't think we played that bad at 0-0. I don't think Man United were necessarily the better team. It was equal chances either way. But then after that, I mean, what was the statistic? Was it 2 hours without a shot on target, something like that?
Yeah, 2 hours, 60 minutes in the Premier League since we had an effort on. It wasn't even a shot on goal. It was Kane's header.
That's beyond embarrassing. That's just beyond words. That's beyond embarrassing. That's just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, Brian, were you surprised at how we lined up and how flat we were? I mean, Tommy said we were in the game. We were. Son had a couple of chances. The second part of McFred had a good shot, long range shot. You'd expect Lloris to save it, but it was kind of an open game. Were you surprised that we didn't go at them like a train, or do you think we're just not capable of going at teams like a train? Possibly now that Nuno's gone, but at the time.
For the last few games, we've all said Tottenham need to come out the traps fast and set the tempo, and I just don't think we understand what that means. Our players, I just don't think they have the capabilities to do it, because there was so much on the line for this game. I mean, obviously you had the hype around it with the El Sacchio, whatever, but we both come off the back of horrible defeats. Obviously, Man U's defeat to Liverpool, and the scoreline is a lot bigger and a lot more controversial than Tottenham lose to West Ham. Tottenham-West Ham is known, a London derby, whatever. Liverpool United is right up there in the history of the biggest games in the country, right up there. And what I loved going into this game, well, hated for us, but it just goes to show the difference between the players' mentality, was we hear Ben Davies and Harry Winks with the stupid media comments they come up, and then you see what Marcus Rashford said on his personal social media. when he goes, sorry, I've been quiet for the last 2 days. I just haven't known what to say. I'm embarrassed. We're United. This ain't acceptable. We need to do better. And it's a full-blown apology, not excuses.
Yeah.
So then I was outside of the protest.
Just let me bring someone on quickly. Matt, you got some backup. Ben, how you doing?
Hi, guys. Hi.
Yeah.
Hello, buddy.
Sorry, Brian.
Yeah, so obviously I was outside the protest. Then one of the guys that I know came up to me and said, have you heard the rumour? I was like, what rumour? They said Davies starts. I was like, oh, fuck, this was like 5 minutes before. I was like, surely not. Surely not. And then 5 minutes later, with Tottenham, I always relate to the my favourite movie, Snatch. And I'm sure a lot of us on here have seen that movie, Snatch. And I pretty much know that movie off by heart. And one of my favourite lines is when Bullet Tooth Tony, Vinnie Jones says, never underestimate the predictability of stupidity. Well, that's Nuno. And that decision. That when I heard that, that's the first thing I heard. I heard Tommy Bullet Tooth Tony saying that to me, and I was like, "Here we go, it's done." Then you saw they're playing Cavani and Ronaldo. And I have to say one thing: Ronaldo may be like, you know what he is, you know how good he is. Cavani in the last game at White Hart Lane absolutely destroyed us with his movement. Absolutely tore us, and he was at it again, which just goes to show if you're old. It doesn't matter about your age. If you look after yourself, doesn't matter what position you're in, you can do it. So we started the game, and the whole Reguilon thing, it's got to be because of that party. Because if it was if it was disciplinary, surely he was rested against Burnley to make sure he was fit for United. And then obviously this is breaking out that he had a party on Friday night, and you got to remember. He did this last Christmas with Lo Celso and Lamela. We went during COVID, so he has got form for this. So unfortunately, we don't have the squad in depth to have had a different person to go at left back. So he had to be there. We huffed and puffed, and we're never going out. Yeah, we had a couple of shots that were nowhere near target. And the thing is with Ronaldo, like we can attack and attack and attack. Ronaldo, one chance, one shot, one goal, bang! You know it's coming. You know it's coming. And who was he on the back of? Of course, it was Ben Davies. Putting Ben Davies and Dyer on the same left-hand side, or if you put them on the right-hand side, you might as well put Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder there because they will do a better job. At least they'll run around and do bits. And they may get lucky. And then we just put our heads down. As we do, the mentality within this squad, because the players run the asylum and they just see managers off, it was always going to happen. Son had a couple of chances. He hasn't looked right. Kane, we know, hasn't looked right. If it wasn't for Romero, who I think, as bad as our defence looks, he seems to have added some kind of... I mean, it would have been a cricket score if it weren't for him. He seems to have caught, and you can see how class this guy is going to be. The second goal, it was just brilliant football. We screwed up, and that was brilliant football. And then we take off our best player on the pitch on the night, and you saw that. And then once those boos came, that was it. There was never ever going to be a comeback, and it just goes to show this is the difference between a team like United and a team like Tottenham. They have possibly the worst. These guys will probably know best, but I would say that's your worst defeat probably since the 6-1 to Man City years ago. Wouldn't you say? Especially at home, and the style of the performance.
Well, to you guys. We lost 60 years. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, yeah. So that one, I didn't even think of that one. Bloody, how stupid am I? But yeah.
Sadly, there's been a few. Yeah.
So that was probably. But what Man U do is they kept their heads down. Their big players didn't come up with bullshit excuses and they're picking on me and they're taking my lunch money and the grass is too long and the fans were being noisy. I mean, what is Ben Davies talking about? But United, shut up. Rashford said that tweet, which shows the mentality of that team. They come into town and they get the job done and they leave. Whether it was a great performance viewed by Man U fans or viewed by us from Man U, doesn't matter. They got 3 points, clean sheet.
Exactly.
And look at their subs. I mean, this is with Pogba suspended. They took off. I mean, they took off. Who was the first sub?
Well,
they brought on Rashford.
Greenwood, Sancho, and Rashford all on the bench, didn't they? All
yeah, and they bring Rashford on for Ronaldo, and it's like that's what teams do. So this result was totally coming. You knew it was coming because, man, this is what big teams do. when the chips are down, whether they're playing, whether it's the Fergie time where you knew it was going to happen, or now where you think they're right for the taking, they turn up. When the pressure is at the most, the big teams get the job done, and that's exactly what United did.
Yeah, just a couple of comments here. We'll get on to him in a bit. It's the man Conte that's forcing Brian to get a tattoo soon. He'll fail if he's not allowed to play back three. And from India Spurs and Ryan McFarlane, he needs to be backed, which this is Levy, so will he or not? But I mean, back to United, Ben. What do you think of the game? Obviously, you must be pretty happy after the 5-0 loss, but we didn't really lay a glove on you. Like,
Nah.
if that was an Alex Ferguson and you were against a Liverpool who had just been battered by, Everton or something like that, the Ferguson would be going kill them in the first 10 minutes, see what they're made of, and we didn't really do that. So we made it quite easy for you. But
I don't disagree. I think generally, when Ollie's have been under pressure, United do find a performance. I think we had one a few last year before the international break where we beat Everton away, and there was a bit of, I think it was after the Spurs game, and there was a bit of pressure mounting then. And I was talking to a chap on Twitter about it, a Spurs fan, and I said, we do it. We and obviously it's a big week for United. Aside from Spurs, is Atlanta, then City at the end of it, and we had to bounce back, but in terms of the game, it did just feel like once we got the first goal, which by the way was something special. I do think. I mean, I take the point about Davies. I actually thought they played Davies. I mean, you guys know more about Davies than me.
I felt a little bit sorry for Davies on that goal because it's Ronaldo. If Davies stands there and tries to hold him up, Ronaldo can see he stood there. He runs at him and gets a header where Davies can't react. But yeah. I also thought Lloris, you look at Ronaldo. Ronaldo's setting up for the volley before Davies jumps. It's that mentality of he may miss this. I need to be ready. Lloris, I thought the only place he can score that is across the goal. So
I think it's a difficult one for the
Davies
keeper.
Might get something on it, and
I think it's a difficult one. I think that he's half expected, and I think when I saw the teams, I was surprised Davies played. I mean, I'd much prefer to be playing against him than the Reguilon guy, and I just think I thought maybe they played him to counter Ronaldo in the air. I thought potentially that was a thought process of Nuno, but against three at the back, I think Gary Neville said it in commentary. You outballsy your fullbacks, who's going to do the most damage? I mean, I don't know much about Emerson Royal, so I'll let you guys talk about that guy. But obviously, I know a bit about Doherty. I've seen him play, and I was a bit about Reguilon. I mean, I can't imagine Doherty would be better than Emerson Royal, but you guys might think differently. But definitely on the ball, Reguilon's better than Ben Davies. I mean, I don't know about defensively; I don't watch him enough, but the game, I just thought there was nothing there. I mean, when Spurs were at their best, you had those two players. I think I used to love Dembele, and there used to be another next to him. Was it Wanyama or was it Dias? I think sometimes played there. But also they were able to get that ball through that first line to Eriksen, to Ali. There was none of that. I think Skip played one ball to Lo Celso in the entire game that I remember that kind of cut two or three players out. And I think you do have a problem. I know the ball didn't get to Kane, didn't get to Son really, but I think you do have a problem when Fred and McTominay are coming into town and dominating. I do think, and I still haven't seen anything from Lo Celso to tell me what he is. He reminds me a little bit of a Lamella without the bite. There's not a lot
you played football with me, Ben, so you know how bad I am, but I'd have backed myself to play that pass to Son from the Celso where he put it behind, and that was absolutely dreadful.
Yeah,
I'd have been able to play that pass, and I paid to play football. That's how bad I am.
Yeah, I've seen you. I don't think you'd have made it. But anyway, but the point, I think the point is, once the first goal went in, I agree with the chap. It just felt like there was nothing in response. There was no belief there was a response. I think Son tried. I actually think the right back did try quite hard. I think he didn't hide the right back. He got on the ball, but I was really happy to see Lucas go off because he's just energy and fights, doesn't he, and stuff. So that was nice. And then we got the second, and I think that was it. This next goal after that first goal was always going to be huge in that game, and I think that sort of settled it. But I don't know. They just look no punch from Spurs. I think that's unlike them. From the Poch time, you always felt that they had a goal in them. But I do agree about Romero as well. I like Romero. He looked good. I mean, he wasn't scared to lay one on someone, which I know that sounds like a negative. I don't mean it like that. I mean, you could now and again, I think you've got to do that. He went through the back of Cavani, through the back of Ronaldo.
Like Vidic used to.
Yes,
literally let them know that they're there.
Yeah. And if you can get away about a yellow card like he did in those, then even better. Then you're I think that's the risk the sort of defenders like him take. I think Maguire does something. I mean, it was one with Maguire with Son in the corner where he pretty much ripped his shirt off and threw him in the crowd, and someone was like, "What are you doing?" And but no one gave anything. So it's a long way back. I mean, I don't know how much of it's the manager, how much is it the players. What I do think about Nuno, though, I don't know what you guys have talked about before I came. Sorry for being late, but I do think that the weird thing about Nuno is when he was at his best at Wolves, he played free at the back.
Yeah,
he had that.
Tommy's been mentioning that on his streams and this stream for.
Yeah, I completely agree. I completely agree. And he sort of just said to those front three, he had the control of Moutinho and Neves, and then he sort of said to those front three, Traore, Jota, and Jimenez, go and win us it. And quite a lot of times you got the dull Wolves games where it was 0-0. And I can remember United, I think, had about 4 0-0s of them in one season because we wouldn't attack them because we wanted to play on the break, and they wouldn't attack us because they wanted to play on the break. And it just ended up the dullest games ever. But that was where Nuno, I felt like and I feel like he's maybe tried to change himself, knowing that Spurs want to play a bit more, but it just hasn't happened, has it? It hasn't worked out for him. I don't think he's a bad manager, but I think he's a bad manager fit for Spurs. It's one of those, totally. It's just it's one of those.
Yeah, I mean, Matt. Last question about United before we have to go on to Conte and then Kane, Son, and the rest of them. Do you think this will give you belief now to say, that Liverpool game was a blip in their mind? Obviously, it was terrible. Liverpool are one of the best teams in the world at the moment. But do you think it will give them a bit of confidence for the Atalanta game and then the City game, and then maybe Solskjaer stays on after the international break and you go on a bit of a run? Or do you think, like you said earlier, it's Tottenham? It's Tottenham. Come on, lads, it's Tottenham. So it doesn't mean anything. It was just a performance against a team that refused to attack.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's some results players refer to them as it's a professional result, and I think that Tottenham game was you could classify that as a professional result. The players went there, did the job, as Brian said. And I think that is for players of this quality. All it takes is something like that for them to kind of remember, we are pretty good, and they. Ollie's kind of commented on, like, was it Ben? Like he said, Cavani in training, it's like it's the best he's seen like in his whole career, because I think they realised that it's on them as well, and I think just I hope all it needed was one win, and like I said when we kind of got started, that I don't think this was the game to kind of turn it all around, but I think it will give them the confidence now and the focus. I don't know how Ollie will line up against Atlanta and City. I think he might go for same again, but I fear against Atlanta that it might not be as successful because they are, as you guys know, Atlanta are just a solid team. But it's kind of, you get a win under your belt and then you take it from there, and I think that's true.
Yeah, I mean, I would be shocked if Ollie's there at the beginning of next season, and that's horrible to say because I'd love him to succeed. I'd love him to go win 27 games in a row now, win the league. That'd be fantastic. But I'd be shocked if that happens, and I think he'll have to change against Atalanta. I think there's no way Ronaldo and Cavani are doing 3 games in 7 days. It's like old Cyril Regis and Simon Garner for Wickham, wouldn't it? When they played together, it's just higher quality. And I just think that you have to make some change. I mean, Sancho's got to play. Sancho's got to start. So I think there might be a change, but I think he'll be back to 3 at the back for City because we played 3 at the back against City last year. So actually, I think to be more technical, it was a back 5. But yeah, and
what was it against?
Chris, just before you start talking Conte, I've just received something, and it's a tweet that's been out here, but this is where this starts to go wonky, and this is where you start to wonder, like Tommy said, where I've been all day about this is too good to be true and this could fall through. Now, Spurs fans will understand this because we all speak fluent Levy, or I speak fluent Levy, so I will translate for the United fans and the people that don't. A tweet has been released that Antonio Conte to THFC remains imminent, but the contracts will not be signed until tomorrow as the finer terms are still being discussed. Now, this is the shit you get where we've had all day. It's done. It's 18 months. It's agreed. He's on a plane. He's this. He's that. This, in Tottenham Hotspur terms, is Daniel's up to something. I've got to stop calling him like he's my mate. Levy the parasite.
Is this Conte saying now you're a bit more desperate from the summer? That you know what I asked for in the summer.
Yeah.
Now I definitely want. Right, and Levy's gone, yeah, and then he's actually gone back and crunched the numbers and gone, oh, you know, is that what this is? Like, I mean, because that's the impression I get of the situation. Because I think Conte is obviously fairly close with the director guy. I forget his name that you guys have got now. Yeah, and my guess is that Nuno wasn't obviously your first choice. It's not a guess. I think everyone knows it wasn't your first choice. And like, I wonder if maybe in the summer Conte doesn't really do like on a budget, does he? And that's always where the mismatch with Conte and Spurs comes for me. Is like, yeah, even if Levy said, right, yeah, okay, you can have 200 million next summer, which I don't think is going to happen, but let's say he did, right? Then the following summer it'll be 50 million, and Conte will just be like, "See ya." Like, so it's
and he will. That's the thing. He's got principles and morals. Conte will. If you don't back him, he's gone. He's not messing about. It was. I've just seen something else.
When I left Ben today, £15.5 million a year contract. Everything agreed. Imminent 18 months. Everything agreed. He's on a plane. Everything's agreed. And this means that he's done it again, or could be doing it again, where he says one thing, and then he's like, "Yeah, it's just a smoke bomb. I'm gonna."
But Brian, what about the report? What about the journalists? What if this wasn't true? The journalists jump on this. Look at Romano. Romano's jumped on this. As soon as Romano jumps,
hasn't given the 3 words. Romano hasn't given the "here we go."
Yeah.
When he says that, it's done. It's done. It's official. It's done. Count ears. So this is the thing. I mean, listen, for me and for the Man U fans, because everyone else who's a Spurs fan will know, I'm one of the biggest Levy out people. I mean, my hatred for him is like beyond what you could imagine. This is a win. This is a win-win situation for us. We either win and Conte comes in, or we win because this goes to shit. And if it goes to shit, Daniel Levy has not got a leg to stand on. It won't just be a few thousand singing it in the stadium next week. It will be the entire stadium. So he has got to do. But I've been so excited all day, and I actually allowed myself to start thinking, with all my doubt that I never, ever, ever, and Tommy will vouch for it, that I have never, ever given him. I kind of started thinking the way they were going, it's done. And this has come out, and now I'm like, shit.
Love and hate is very closely attached, Brian. I will say that.
No, basically, that finer details. What's happened there is Conte said, "I want this transfer budget," and he goes, "But you can have a free the skydive at the top of the stadium. You can have that."
He said you can have it in 28 instalments.
You can have a free stadium tour. You can have a free NFL shirt.
You can have 200 million. You've got to sell Harry Kane for 150.
But then you can only use 100 of it.
Yeah. Player amortization.
But this is the thing. This is what Ryan McFarlane says at the bottom here. If it's Conte, he needs to be backed. The thing with Conte is, if he's there, he will be backed. It's going to be in the contract. If you take over now in January, we have to give you money. We have to give you money in January.
Jose wasn't backed, really, was he?
But Jose didn't ask for money. Jose was done. Jose wasn't even interested in money. He was like, this team is capable of winning as it is. He wanted his 300, 400 grand a week. He was finished. He was finished after Man United, Jose. But Conte's CV is still going and it's still amazing now. Winning the Scudetto with Inter last season for the first time in 10 years. His CV is incredible everywhere he goes. He turns average players like Victor Moses into world-class wing backs. And he can turn average players into great ones. That's why
and
he's
on the flip side,
praised so high.
he's not giving that up, is he? He's not giving that reputation up.
That's another one.
For 6 months
Exactly.
at Spurs where he doesn't get backed. And no disrespect, but obviously the game of the weekend, he needs to be. You know, it's not. I mean, he maybe walked into Inter or Chelsea before. I mean, I know Chelsea were in a bad position at the time, but they had players like Hazard. They had a team that had just won the league the season before that. And the Spurs team's way off that. So I mean, he's not going to give up like his reputation, even because Conte does that. 2-3 seasons gone. That seems to be his kind of MO, and he's not going to go and have 2-3 seasons somewhere where he gets no backing and doesn't give himself a chance, because then his stock drops. So if Conte comes, it's positive in terms of the money you'll spend. I think there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I mean, Adam, this banner is pretty much out of date now because of what Brian said, but it's been 4 months to get Conte. We tried to get him in the summer, and now we're trying to get him again. Why not just give him what he wants in the summer? Now we've wasted 10 games, a quarter of a season, but obviously it's a bit out of date now from the stuff coming out on Twitter. But do you think we'll get him? And if we don't, who do we go after for your money?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's I can't call it, because if Levy says something that Conte doesn't like, Conte's just going to go, no, thank you, I'll see you later, and that will be it. I mean, Conte wants this on his terms, and he's such a good manager. He can have it on his terms. I mean, he's entitled to have it on his terms. If it doesn't go ahead, then we'll probably get Fonseca, probably.
We get our own sloppy second.
He's still front runner for me. Honestly, I said on my stream, he is still the front runner for me. I think Fonseca will get this job, and it's the simple.
Is he the one you want, Tommy? If we don't get Conte,
No,
we obviously get Conte. That's who people want. But if we don't get Conte, is Fonseca the one that you want? He does play attacking football, which I said after the game, to my friend, I'll get rid of him. Who do you want? Anyone who understands that to win a football match, you need to score goals, and to score goals, you need to try and score goals. I'll settle for any of them.
He plays kind of attacking football. He plays kind of attacking football. I didn't watch Serie A last season, but his first season I watched him. He's there or thereabouts in terms of the attacking side of things. But Roma finished 5th and 7th. Roma can't be finishing 5th and 7th. You know what I'm saying? And he was sacked. He was sacked for Jose. We're getting. What's going on there?
Yeah, I mean, I think his Shakhtar team. I think I'm thinking of the right guy. His Shakhtar team was very good. Good. Very attacking.
Look at the statistic on Shakhtar. I looked at it. 25 years they've won 90% of the Ukrainian titles before he showed up as well. So, but do you know what? They did okay in Europe. That's separate. Yeah, they did okay in Europe. So, but
and he had some players, didn't he? I think didn't Fernandinho. I think Fred was well. They had that Alex. They had a few. Yeah, that team. I saw them go to the Etihad and play, and they absolutely bossed them like that. I think it was like 2-2 in the end, but it was a great game. And but then the Roma team that came to Old Trafford for the Europa League semi-final, that was not a good team. So it depends on how much of it's the manager, how much of it's the players. I really don't know the answer to that question. So,
and I think Fonseca's at Porto as well, and he fouled. He's finished 3rd and didn't win a trophy. I think that's the first time in Porto's history for 40 years they finished less than runners up and didn't win a trophy. So yeah, reputation. I don't think he's the man, but I think that's the place we'll go. Honestly, I think Fonseca will probably be the man. If I was betting money, I'd bet on.
It'd be interesting what the people in the chats think, but let us know who you think we should get if we don't get Conte. And while you're there, hit a like, hit a subscribe as well. Brian, we don't get Conte. Who do we get? Who do you want us to get?
Do you know what? If don't get Conte,
or will you be on care?
I'm going to be in prison for GBH on Levy. I'm going to be on GBH. I swear to God, I won't be going back to Canada. And I've even worked out if I ever think of it GBH on Levy, I'll get to prison. I'll probably get the penthouse for doing what I did. But listen, Sky Sports have just done a thing at 8:37. So I'm going to read the first paragraph. Now let's take the sting out of it and pretend it's not Conte or Tottenham, just a general football team, whoever. Now, we've heard in the media that the deal's agreed. We've heard it's 18 months. We've heard it's this much wages. We've heard it's blah, blah, blah. And it gathering pace. It's imminent. So the deal is, I'm not going to mention the names of the club. We know it is. But if it was your club, what would you feel? The manager is expected to finalise the deal to become the head coach on Tuesday after a day of productive talks. Productive. It's like, well, wait a minute, the talks were done. He was on a plane to sign it. Now you say it's productive.
It's exactly what happened in the summer, wasn't it? It was all productive, and then all of a sudden it went off. It fell off a cliff.
Did you see the Paddy Power? And I love Paddy Power. Some of their tweets are brilliant. They tweeted before it started gathering pace, and it goes, Conte to Spurs. Levy to Conte. Behold our wonderful stadium. And then Conte says, I want to talk about the transfer budget. And then Levy says, behold our wonderful stadium. And I was just pissing myself because that is just typical of what we know could happen.
He's like, do you like the NFL? You like the NFL? Free tickets for it.
Mate, you know what? I've allowed myself to kind of. I've said all along, yeah, he has come. But during this, I've not believed Levy, but I believe that, you know what? It's surely this has gone too far down the line for a second time for this to fall. Surely the man who is as stupid as they come hasn't done it again.
But Brian, I'm not sticking up for Levy, but this is journalism. This could have all. Did he go to play? Did you see him go to play? Who actually saw him go to play?
No. I get this, but don't get me wrong. I understand it's what journalists do, but it was my first, not my first, but being at the We Are Tottenham team, we all watch things when we're on our streams or we watch Sky Sports and gradually hear it. But when you're in the We Are Tottenham TV studios and see what they do behind the scenes to check all the tweets, to check where they're these were coming through like bang, 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 bang. And yes, there's ITKs who think they know. Or yes, there's people like Fabrizio Romano who does have, especially in Italian football, does have a lot of knowledge and a lot of contacts and whatever. They were just coming so thick and fast. And every single one of them, it wasn't like they were all saying the same thing. Every single one of them was like, this has got a step closer. This has got a step closer. This is... And I waited for Ali Gold to come out because Ali Gold only says it if it's going to happen. Like with the Gareth Bale thing, he said, I don't talk about Gareth Bale unless I know it's going to happen. He literally did a stream, then went for a shave, and he came back and goes, you know what Spurs are like? You go for a shave after doing a video saying Bale isn't coming, only to find out he is coming. So when I saw Ali Gold say it, and there's another guy that Simmonds Stone, I think it is, from the BBC, or someone Stone, he actually said, and I thought it was a mistake that they were going to get put down immediately, but they didn't, which said, Nuno Conte will be meeting his new team today. I was like, okay, those kind of ones, you know, when like a player puts something up and they take it off immediately, but it's still up there. So I thought, okay, they can't be saying this without it. So I kind of put my toe in the water, and it's only my toe. And now my toe is straight back out of the water. I am bone dry. My boxing gloves are coming off.
You know what? You're almost giving Levy credit, Brian. You're almost giving Levy credit.
I'm not giving that schmuck any credit. The only credit I will give him is if he stands in front of me and allows me to smack him in the face. Then I'll give him credit. Then I'll give him some credit. But until then, he gets nothing. But you know what? I'm now... just say I'll be in the We Are Tottenham TV studios, and if this falls through, box office at We Are Tottenham TV.
This is the on the Daily Express. I just read an article in the Daily Express. £247 million Conte's been promised this, that, or the other. This is the question. It's not whether you believe Conte or you believe rumours. I mean, do you believe Levy is going to release £247 million? Because if you don't believe that, if you don't believe he's going to release the funds, then Conte's not coming. He's just not coming. Without that budget, he's just not coming.
Over the course of his contract, maybe. But
he'll need at least £100 million in January. In January, you need at least £100 million.
And the thing is, in January, it's always harder, isn't it? Everything's a bit more expensive.
That's the Levy excuse. Yeah. You know Levy. Have you met Levy? that is the line. It's the hardest window. Oh, yeah, we can't. Oh, here we go.
I'm finance.
United fans complain about the Glazers. This £80 million, £89 million Pogba, £80 million Sancho, and they complain about the Glazers. Like, be us. Like, try living in our shoes. You know what I'm saying?
To be fair, the Glazers are stealing money from United and have done for a while, from what I understand.
They do spend it. I think it's not a problem. We might get money spent, but we just spend it poorly. But I think our problem with the Glazers is slightly different.
And the issue with United, with United, they don't need the Glazers, do they? We make our own money. It's you know, they take our money over there when it should be, you know, spent at Old Trafford or players. But I was listening to a podcast earlier, and someone who knows Conte said, no, not personally, but you know, he's an Italian journalist, says the thing is with Conte, he will never lose the team, but he will always lose the board. And it's just like, from an outsider, it's just going to be a disaster, isn't it? It's just leaving Conte together.
As an outsider, though, Matt, I mean, obviously you're a United fan, so me saying who do you think Spurs should go for, your answer is probably, I don't care, it's Tottenham.
India
Spurs have said anyhow. Have said anyhow, but do you think he'd be a good appointment? I mean, if this Conte thing falls through, and like Ryan says, it's very odd to go get him in the summer, all signed and sealed, oh, it's fallen through, and then to do exactly the same thing again just seems ridiculous. But, I mean, who would you go for if you were Spurs?
What about, who's the current Wolves manager? Because, you know, your experience of taking Wolves managers.
I think they're 2-0 up. I think they're 2-0 up. They're doing all right.
He's an attacking manager, isn't he?
Portuguese managers.
That's Levy saying, I'm watching the TV. This guy's doing all right, Antonio.
They love him. Honestly, the Wolves fans love this new guy because they've been on the back foot for 4 years under
attacking.
They just, even though they lost the first few games, like they lost to us, but they should have beat us. They lost their first 3 games. They were very, very good in those first 3 games. It's about having an identity and having a philosophy. So it's not just the fact that, you know, Nuno's what, he's 7th or 8th. It's how we're losing games and the style of football. It's getting on top of us. The Wolves fans are ecstatic. I do a prediction league with one of them every week. It's a duo, and they're absolutely ecstatic, even when they were losing games. Like just to see some front.
Well, they battered us. When we went there, they played really well against us. They were really, really good. Yeah. I mean, for me, I know this sounds weird. I mean, I'm not 100% sure Conte's a great fit at Spurs. I mean, I think he's obviously good. I mean, he's a very, very good manager, winning things, you know, and that helps. But I still think I said it when you got Nuno. I still think I'm a huge fan of the Potter. I still think if there's a way that you could extract him,
you told me that ages ago. I came onto streams and said Potter, and I got criticised because he's not a big enough manager because we've had Jose. But I agree with you, and I was banging the drum for Potter because of everything that you said. I mean, you sent me a tweet yesterday. Imagine where you'd be if you listened to me. I don't know what I did, but you know. But we'd be lucky, and we'd be turned down by Brian Potter from Phoenix Knights.
I mean, even if you have to wait for the summer. Okay, Spurs aren't getting relegated. It's very unlikely you're going to get top 4. That's my opinion, right? I might be wrong, right? But so I mean, if Potter would say, "Oh, in the summer I'd consider it," then I would get someone interim so fast, and I would be because I think Spurs are going to need 2-3 years, and the problem with Conte is I feel like he might build something and then just go, "Oh, Real Madrid's available, see ya," that's kind of, it's a continuous kind of like stop and start, and like you say, you either get abrasive managers who kind of play negative football, or you get like, you know, the brilliant ones like Potter that eventually Levy just lets go, and there's no rhyme or reason for that.
This is why, Chris, as well, the question is, Ollie's safe, a difficult one to answer, because you sometimes look at the market and you think, well, who's out there? And I think this is why I don't believe the rumours that he was linked to United, because United are not going to go down that route again where they've got to bring in a manager and then they'll say, oh, we need about 2 or 3 transfer markets to build a team, because we've been doing that with Ollie.
Yeah, United have picked direction now, and I think Spurs, right? You've kept Kane, big thing. Son is an absolute wonderful footballer. Like, I mean, people in the summer were like, what if United got Kane? I'd have Son. Like, you know, we've got enough wingers, but you know, nonetheless, I'd have him. Like, he's brilliant, you know, and I just think you need a direction now. It's clear from Spurs fans, from Mourinho and Nuno, you don't want to play back foot football. I mean, it's absolutely clear. I mean, if Levy goes out and gets a back foot manager now, he's tone deaf, right? So who's out there that can be? You know, there's the Ten Hag guy from Ajax. I mean, I'm not saying that Conte isn't a good, you know, wouldn't do well at Spurs. I think he would. I think he'd get any team into shape. But like you've all said, it needs money. And I think over a long period of time, Levy isn't going to continuously give him that money, and so it's a rocky relationship right from the start. You get someone who can work on a lower budget, but can also deal with having a bit more money in their pocket. I mean, if you put Harry Kane in Brighton's team for the last 2 seasons, I mean, wowza, they would be some side.
Yeah, I mean, Tony Hall's got in touch here. Hope you're all having a fantastic evening. Waiting on the news. We'll be celebrating tomorrow. I'm not sure about that. Yeah, Adam, I've been adamant since Nuno started that Pochettino had 2 years left when Nuno was appointed. He had a 2-year deal. He's now got an 18-month, year and a half Pochettino at PSG, and then all the rumours were Conte's got an 18 months. So I'm adamant that Poch is coming back in a year and a half. Me and Ben were disagreeing about this earlier. Why would he leave PSG? But I just think he is, and but that leaves for the next 18 months who comes in and steadies the ship. But it needs someone, I think, to get Kane and Son back on form. It's obvious our main strengths are going forward because we've got 2 of the best in the world, but yet they're not getting on the ball. They're looking a shadow of themselves because they're not getting the ball. We've got Lo Celso who can play a pass worse than Stevie Wonder, and then they're not getting chances. And when they do, it's few and far between, so they're struggling with it. But we need an attacking manager, right? There's no other way about it. It can't be someone who's a bit pragmatic or anything like that. You've obviously got to have a bit of pragmatism. You can't just go bullying the China shop and then concede 4 goals and hope you score 5. But do you see a Poch coming back in 18 months? Do you think there'll be someone like a Potter coming in for a long term? And Ben says we need someone who's been messaging me. We need someone a 5-year manager or something like that. We had that, and as soon as he asked for a bit of money, he got rid of, and then it's all fallen to crap. So what do you see with this manager thing? Do you see a long-term appointment, whoever it may be, or do you see a shorter term and then? Because I'm adamant Poch is coming back in a year and a half. How do you see?
No, I don't think Poch will come back. I don't think we're going to get him back. He's at PSG. I can't see him coming back to Spurs. If we get Conte, he's just going to be a short-term manager. He'll get us going for a season or 2, and then something will happen. He'll go. He'll leave. So I don't really know where this is going to go, to be honest. Talking about Graham Potter, if we get him, he might be a long-term manager, a manager that might stay around for quite a while, depending on how he does. But if we get Conte, he's going to be a short-term manager. He'll be a season or 2, and that'll be it. Something will happen, he'll go. But I can't see Poch coming back. I can't see him coming back.
Chris, I will say about that as well. Do you think Levy's ego will let that happen?
It's to appease the fans, isn't it? The fans hate him. I mean, there's nothing he can do to make the fans like him. But Poch has always said he'll be back. He's got unfinished business. It's an uncommon opinion. Tony Hall said, I don't see Pochettino coming back. Next job being at United. I mean, what do you 2 guys think about that? He was linked with you for a little while, wasn't he?
I would not mind that.
I'm not sure Pochettino would go to another Premiership club. I mean, Tommy, what do you think of the whole Poch thing? Because I'm adamant about it, and everyone I speak to says no, rubbish, which I'll tell you now, I'll be bragging on here and any other channel I'm on.
You have done for a very long time, Chris, to be fair. You have done for a very long time.
And Brian's just told me if he does come back, he's getting a Poch tattoo.
But to be fair, since I've known you, Chris, the 2 things you bang on about is the fact that we need a number 10 and that Poch is coming back. You're right with the number 10, that's for sure. I didn't realise how bad it was until we see that Ndombele and Lo Celso just can't. They just haven't got whatever it is. They haven't got it. But Pochettino, it's like you don't return to the scene of a crime, do you? You just don't return to the scene of a crime. He's got too much baggage. I think it's important for both to move on. And the only way he comes in is if basically he doesn't do a good job at PSG, quite frankly. So he gets sacked, and then you've got a sacked manager.
I think it could be the other way around. His hoodoo and monkey on his back was always you don't win anything. If he wins the Champions League with PSG, I think
He's going to be like, okay, my next step forward after winning Champions League PSG is to go to Tottenham and leave again.
I'm in the conference league.
I think PSG don't really care about winning the league that much because they, apart from last season, always win that league. It's the Champions League they want. It's the same with Man City.
Kane probably won't be there.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Son probably won't be there. But
I know what you're saying.
I think it's going to be.
In terms of a manager now, Brian.
Yep.
Do you think we need someone like a Conte to convince Kane and Son to stay? I mean, obviously, if Kane possibly should have gone. If we'd have got 150 million, we could have invested. But then we've got Nuno investing it, so we'd have got rid of the best striker in the world and got like 3 defenders in. But do you think to keep Son will obviously stay? He's got a 5-year deal, and Levy ain't going to let him go. But in terms of Kane, do you think he needs? Because he loved Mourinho. And I think he was absolutely gutted when he got fired just before the final. But do you think for him, he needs someone like a Conte in? He obviously needs someone who likes attacking football to get the best out of them. But do you think if we got someone who wasn't fancied, he'd be, well, January, I want to go? And if Conte came in, do you think, well, I'll give it to the end of the season because Conte wins stuff?
So, first of all, Chris, I think you've got it the wrong way. Hodge hasn't gone to PSG to win trophies and then come back. I'm convinced he's gone there to tell the Qatari family to sell up and buy Tottenham, so we can actually, and then it comes over as a marriage. I think he's been an undercover spy, and he's just trying to get them to withdraw their cash and bring it to Tottenham. Listen, I don't want Poch anywhere near Tottenham until the parasite goes because it's going to repeat itself. And for me, with Conte, it's not. He said. I put a tweet out. There's a statement he said, not today, and about Tottenham. It's a statement or kind of his mantra where he says, winners find solution, losers find excuses. And in 6 words, he has summed up what is going on at our club right now. I'm more interested to come in and see him kick the living shit out of Dele Alli. Dele Alli will have his hair out of that fucking stupid hairstyle within like 2 minutes of that. Oh, let's get my hair nice and straight and army cut. So what happens is we have had so many players, the Deadwood or the players that have passed their sell-by date, and the people with Dele Alli's the point. One of the people that is poisoned with his attitude, his mentality, blah blah blah. They know that if they don't like the manager, let's just fuck about and do what we want. We'll see him off, then we'll see the next one off, then we'll see the next. Conte moves through that door. Those days are over at Tottenham Hotspur. That's what I will say. Those days are over, and you will be gone. He will get rid of you, or do what Jose did with Danny Rose. You'll be in the under 20. He will have you out. And more. Yes, he can widen the net, and more the caliber will come. And yes, Kane will change, and he will be like, do you know what? Now that's what I'm talking about. Now go and get me a couple of players to back it up, and then we're talking business. But Kane isn't really having the season that we. It's like now. Last season, we'd love him to be saying that. Right now, he's Marmite for a lot of people. But Conte is the one to get the poison finally out. Paratici can widen the net of the kind of caliber we can get. Obviously, that's how we got Romero. Without Paratici, there is no Romero. Fact. We will be able to, again, with Paratici and Conte, people will come to play for Antonio Conte. They will come.
Alexis Sanchez signed for Conte, didn't he?
Yeah, that's.
It's just weird that he gets the poison out and signs Sanchez.
But this is the thing. Look what he did with Skriniar. Look what he's done. Look what he did. You just need to take a look at what he did with Lukaku, especially now we've got Man U fans here to see what he did.
Skriniar. Do you know Skriniar? I didn't even play in his first team for 6 months. Skriniar, so he doesn't mess about. Even if you're fully quality. If you're the best centre back, one of the best centre backs in the league, he's not afraid. He is not afraid to leave you on the sidelines.
That's because we got into their head when we offered him £3.60 and a packet of Haribo to come to Tottenham. That was our opening bid. So obviously, but he, like he said, and he went on to. Can you imagine? People will come. Yes, we're in the Conference League or whatever, but if he comes and in January is allowed to spend money, and we mean none of these. It's transfer. The speed of these transfers will be key as well. Whether one of these Daniel Levy us drag it out for the summer and then, our fax machine broke or whatever, it will be get these deals done. Because if we can get them in January, forget what happens this season, whether it's the Conference League, whether it's top 6 or not even Europe. Chelsea weren't in Europe when he battered that league. People will come if Conte starts. Not only comes now, but if he's there at the start of next season or at the end of this, ready to go buy him, people will come to Tottenham. But the most important thing for me is to get people like Dele Alli out the squad or out the team.
Do you think a Conte could do that? Because it's all on Levy's shoulders, isn't it? It's not like the Alex Ferguson kind of way that player needs to go and then the chairman is taking him to the airport because Alex Ferguson said so. I still think, because Mourinho wanted all of these players and all these players out, and then never happened because Levy's stuck his nose in. So
this is part of the negotiation. It's part of the negotiation.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just going to have this little thing, but then I've got to go because I've got to speak to the wife, and then I've got to get ready for our stream. So they're saying that Conte needs assurances. Now, one of the assurances are obviously the money coming in and what we can use to spend, and what from Lady Gaga, I can't remember talking. Lady Gaga, Guns N' Roses, Anthony Joshua, all that money plus whatever's coming from the shirt sponsor and the trading sponsor. So that's got to be agreed. He's not coming without that. But I think one of the bigger things is that he gets control to say, if we get an offer of, let's say, the fact that he wants 40 million for Winks just goes to show what this parasite is doing to the club. I would, if a bid came in from, actually, I'll pay him 40p to get rid of him. He needs to have assurances that players that have lost their value, that have been there for too long, that we've been wanting out for ages or have needed to go for ages, that they can go at the price they're actually valued at, not the inflated price that they're quoted.
Or less, because we need room in a 25-man squad. We can't sign any players.
Million, I would take 5 million to get Dele Alli out the squad right now, just because his attitude goes with him. His attitude goes with him.
That's what I don't understand with all of that, because Aurier was allowed to go for absolutely nothing, which
he decided he wanted to terminate his contract, and Tottenham were like, well, okay, because we got Tanganga, we got Romero, we got Doherty, who, by the way, this deodorant stick has had a better Tottenham career than Matt Doherty has. So I'm just going to put that there. That's how promising he's been. But on that lovely note, insulting Doherty to a deodorant stick, I'm going to go. Man, you guys, it has been great. You're both on Twitter.
We are.
Okay, the links will be on the description.
Ben and Matt. It might be difficult. It might be difficult to find Ben and Matt.
Yeah,
okay.
Ben and Matt.
We're the one and only.
Okay. Well,
Thanks so much for coming on, Brian.
I'm quite easy to find. It's been great.
Yeah, we'll find you, mate.
That sounds quite ominous. I'm looking forward to that.
Just before you go, Brian.
Huh?
Before you go, Tottenham on tour. People don't know. It'll be in the description anyway. But for people who don't know, where can they find that? Yeah,
it's a brand new channel. Well, not brand new. It's a few months old now. Me and Brian Ireland, who were part of Tottenham Away. I'm based in Toronto, Canada. I'm still here in England. I fly home to Toronto on Friday. So tonight we are doing a show at 10:30 UK time. We've got quite a bit to talk about, funny enough, in the world of Tottenham, and we've actually got a superb guest. So his real name is Brandon Victor Dixon. And for people that don't know him, he's been in a lot of TV shows, one of the best TV shows that have ever been. Have any of you guys ever watched the TV show Power?
Yeah.
So if you've watched Power, it's Terry Silver, the solicitor. So he's going to be on. He's been on the. That's my ringtone. Sorry. So he's coming on at 10:30 tonight. When I'm back in Canada, we have got lots and lots of content. You can also find me all day, all week, apart from Friday, because I'm flying at We Are Tottenham TV. I'm in the studio with Ben. But yeah, my channel is Tottenham on Tour. You can find us on that name on YouTube and Tottenham at Tottenham on Tour on Twitter.
Excellent. All of that will be in the description. Cheers. Thanks so much for coming on. Been a pleasure talking to you while you've been in England.
Take it easy, Brian, mate. Take it easy.
Safe trip home.
Always. And I'll leave with my favourite two words. As always, Levy out.
I think just one thing on Conte.
He sits on the fence, doesn't he, Brian? Sits on the fence.
Tell you what, he's not much of a chairman of the Levy membership club, is he? negative about him all the time. Anyway, but yeah, I mean,
the favourite comment he ever said, I think it was on your channel, Tommy. It was when the whole gentleman's agreement with Kane came out, and he said something along the lines of, having a gentleman's agreement with Daniel Levy is like going for a prostate exam, going in and finding out your doctor's Wolverine. But yeah, I mean, very funny, Brian.
Just a quick point on Conte, though. I think it goes unnoticed on Conte. Like, I think he's a good manager. I'm not so sure he'd be good for United, but at the moment, but I think he would be very good for a lot of teams. But what he does that a lot of managers don't do is he gets really good performances out of kind of like older players. I mean, it goes under the, he signed Ashley Young from us. I mean, no one thought Ashley Young would go to Inter Milan and be a hit. I was seeing Inter Milan fans on Twitter saying he's been was exceptional out there. And Lukaku had a point to prove. The old can't have a first touch stuff. There's no doubt in my mind he would get Kane scoring goals, right? But he does need, as everyone said, he does need the money to go with it. But money isn't always necessarily big transfer fees. It might be getting someone who's on big wages who another club wants rid of, and like Sanchez was a classic example of that. Sanchez obviously did really well for Inter Milan in that league. He's just got to be backed, and I think that's the problem when you have like this kind of Levy. I can't say his name. What was it? Patricia. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and is he happy with those two layers above? Because I think he's probably used to working with one, but there does seem at Spurs to be that other level. It's always. I think some of these managers who like top managers want a bit more control, and it's all right having in your contract.
It's a good point.
You're never going to get control of Levy.
It's a very good point because he only signs youth players. He needs to sign some of a sell-on value, and it won't work with Conte. Again, it won't work with Conte. That's why I can't see this happen. As you say, young Sanchez in the early 30s, he wants immediate success, Conte, because he only has contracts for 2 years, 3 years. Doesn't care about 10 years time. So you got to bring those sorts of players in.
Yeah,
the thing with Kane and Son,
it does work for 18 months before Pochettino comes back.
Man, you're going to kick it. Man, I hope you're right to some extent. I
think there's more chance of Tim Sherwood coming back, mate, to be honest.
I love a gilet. But yeah, sorry, Tommy, you're talking about Kane and Son. We'll go round the board with Kane and Son, but yeah, we'll start with you.
Yeah, no, because I just saw it as your banner. I just wanted to mention the fact that I think if Conte does come in, then he played two at Inter. He changes it up, Conte, but only in terms of the attack. He always has three centre backs, so he always plays with three. But sometimes he can go with a striker and two wingers, or two strikers and a cam. I think probably what it will do is it will go with Kane and Son up top. I know, Son, everyone who knows Son is a left winger, but I think he'll go those two, chuck a cam in there, so he'll have Ndombele behind him. Kane and Son up top, we haven't seen Kane and Son up top together, week in, week out. We've seen them on substitutions. They sometimes move into that role together, but we haven't seen them from the start of games. And we just got to see that partnership is incredible. I mean, other clubs can see it. I'm not sure if you've seen it yourselves, Matt and Ben, but we've seen it as Spurs fans. I mean, obviously Kane got 13 assists and 22 goals last season. Top assist maker and top goal scorer, and that was all combined with Son pretty much. They're the only two that can score goals for us.
So they're one off the all-time record with Drogba and I can't remember it might be Lampard, but it's Drogba and someone at Chelsea have got the record. They're one off.
So he'll do a good job because, as I said, Lukaku and Martinez together, fantastic. But the problem with that is we don't play wingers. If you play with two up top, you play with a cam and you don't play wingers. So Lucas Moura, Bergwijn, Gil, who we just signed, probably going to be looking for new clubs. And again, I'm not sure Levy would be up for that. I don't see this working. I don't see it gelling together. And as Ben said, we need to sign some of the older players. It's a very good point. And I don't see Conte doing that. There'll be negotiations. Negotiations are happening right now. They'll be talking about all these things. And I'm not that confident when those negotiations get past 20 minutes. I'm not confident that he'll sign, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, Matt, what do you think about Kane? I was critical of Son because he obviously missed those two chances, but I did watch the Sky Sports replay, and he was running about chasing after everything. So I think I was a little bit harsh on him. But it's definitely the fact that he's not getting the ball and the lack of a playmaker is really affecting him. But in terms of Kane, how do you, as an outside Spurs, Spurs fans are really torn. Like Brian said, he's Marmite now because of what he did in the summer and the refusal to train and all that. I think he's made a mistake there of thinking that the fans hate Levy more than anything, so he can do anything and then they'll back him because it's against Levy. But he's forgotten the fact that there's a badge on the shirt which is bigger than both. Fans felt let down. But while the transfer window was still open, it looked like he was sulking a little bit. But that Arsenal game, the third goal where he made a mistake, fell over, it was him who tracked back 70 yards to try and stop it. If you're not bothered, you don't run back 70 yards because you think, well, it's not my problem, someone else can deal with it. So I think he's trying. I think the lack of attacking play from Nuno is killing him. Because there was a bit against United, it was in the corner, he got a throw-in out of it, but he's surrounded by two defenders, really battling away, and managed to get a throw. That shows to me he's trying. It's just the negative play and the no attack focused at all is killing him. How do you see it? Do you think he's sulking? Do you think it's all affected him, the whole transfer saga? Do you think it's the tactics, or do you think it's something else?
Yeah, I think it's what is... Just as you was talking then, I couldn't help compare it to Rooney. Like, you know, Rooney lost to fans when he was trying to leave the same weekend that Fergie was retiring, and he went and said he wants to leave. And the fans, you know, the relationship with the fans was always, after that, was always kind of questionable. But then he became United's, leading goal scorer. But I think the difference is United had a team of leaders. And I think other players stepped up when maybe he was in this kind of limbo. With Kane, I can't see he would step up. And I think with Kane, if he's not doing it on the pitch, Tottenham aren't doing it on the pitch. And his attitude, I don't know his attitude, sorry, that's the wrong word to you. I think it's just, you can see there's just something not right with him. And, you don't have to kind of dig too deep just to realise, you can tell he's just in a bit of a mess at the moment. Like maybe it's the first time he's questioned his relationship with the fans. Maybe does he think he made a mistake? I don't know. Maybe he'll try again in the summer. There's just far too many questions over him, mate. And I think it's like he almost needs a break. Like just get him out the squad for a couple of weeks. I don't know. I think sometimes you need to know when to drop players. And I'm not saying it's the answer, but I just, every time I see him on the pitch at the moment, it just doesn't seem like the same player. But I have noticed as well, a lot of the England players that came out of that tournament in the summer, they've all been questionable. There's been a couple of good ones, but you look at Shaw and Maguire, they're not, you can tell there's just something off with them. And has that played a part? I don't know. It was a heavy summer for the England players, wasn't it, when you think about it?
Yeah. I mean, what do you think, Ben? I mean, we've chatted about this quite a bit, what do you think's wrong with Kane? And yeah, I mean, also as well, I'll come on to Højbjerg in a bit, but yeah, what do you think's wrong with Kane? Because I think if you're Liverpool and Klopp decides we're playing a really defensive game, we're not getting the ball to the strikers, Salah doesn't really score that many goals. So yeah, I definitely think it's a tactics thing. If we get an attacking coach, you'll then see Kane coming back to kind of his fitness and then look a lot happier. But it could be what Matt says, that the England final loss has affected him, along with a few other players. Could be the whole transfer saga. But where do you see?
I think I just think if I'm in the opposing dressing room and Harry Kane isn't on the team sheet, I'm happy. I think it's just that straightforward. I mean, no disrespect again, this isn't swapping Rashford for Sancho, where some people might say like for like, or whatever. You lose Kane, he's still going to score goals if he gets a chance, isn't he? He's not let's just for argument's sake say he doesn't care anymore, right? And he does want out, and he's just buying his time. I don't actually believe that as it happens, right? I don't think that's kind of him. In everything I've seen, yeah, he wanted to leave. I think we all know that, but I don't think he's one of those players who just doesn't care. I don't see that, right? So for me, but let's say for argument's sake he does. He's still chasing Shearer's record. He's not that guy is not there going, I I won't put in that much this season because I might get a move next season, then I can score a few goals. He wants every goal he can get, right? And I do think watching the game the other day, he didn't have a chance. He was up against 3 centre-backs, and despite what people have written about our defence, right, 2 of them are very, very good at least. I mean, Lindelof, you might say, is more middle of the road. But, Maguire's, one of England's first choice. Varane has won 4 Champions League. He's no mug, a World Cup, all right? He was up against 3 of them. Very rarely did someone run past him, right? So I think, from what I've seen, I saw a game with, going back to Tommy's point, where I think it was against Southampton, where he assisted Son 4 times in one game.
Yeah.
There, but I'm very sure that.
I totally agree, Ben. But at the same time, it kind of you just highlighted there the problem with Tottenham.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's Plan Kane, isn't it? There's no, it's like Tottenham. How many seasons have Tottenham had the same issue of you need some support for Kane when he's not playing? But who do you bring in because they know they're going to be on the bench?
Well, I think Son. I have to be honest.
Conversation of saying that there's got to be a life outside of Kane for Tottenham. Surely.
Yeah, no, I think Son is in that bracket. Kane is obviously the golden boy, the England captain. One of our own types. That all builds into it. We've had at United loads of. You won't see a United fan in the Scholes, Gerrard, Lampard thing say that one of those other 2 are better than Scholes. The whole thing that comes through it. Kane is very much like that. I think tactically is the main thing. I do feel. I think you're not playing anywhere near attacking football. Balls in the box against United. I don't remember them. Kane,
the only one in the box with 4 of your defenders. Even David Beckham would struggle picking someone out with those odds.
But I'm thinking about the teams under Poch where Kane did well, where you had Eriksen linking, but also wide, Trippier and Rose. Balls went in the box. I remember the headed goal I think he scored against Arsenal as well. I don't even see that happening. That doesn't even look like a phase of play. I know Mourinho got him dropping deeper, which worked. Obviously, he got lots of assists. But, you don't really want Kane out wide or,
The only goal Kane scored this season in the Premier League was a ball from midfield, a great ball from midfield for Højbjerg put it into him, and he scored. He thought it was offside, basically. So the only way he's scoring is on the edge, on the shoulder. He's not being fed in the box. He's got nothing in the box. He's less than scraps. It is less than scraps. So, as you say, I don't feel, look, his head was turned. Let's face it.
Yeah.
But as you say, that England thing as well. He hasn't won a trophy. He hasn't won a trophy as a professional footballer for 7 years. I think that England, the Euros would have done him a lot of good if he just won that. So he was going through a difficult stage at the start. Any player would. But as you say, I don't think his fight's gone. Gone. Maybe a little in the earlier games. I don't think his fight's gone. His fight's gone. You have to put the ball in the box. You can't. I would love to see a statistic, a heat map of how many touches he had in the opposition box. It can't be many. Throughout the season, it can't be many. As you said, Man United probably didn't have one. So
you look at his comparable peers. The Lewandowskis of this world. If you don't give the ball to Lewandowski, if Bayern Munich don't get the ball to Lewandowski, he's not scoring many goals. Lewandowski's not dropping a shoulder, beating 2, whacking it in the top hand corner. That's not his game. I think Lewandowski is world class. I've seen, but that's the supply is there. And I agree. I don't think I think there might be an issue of belief in the system. You don't run as hard when you don't believe the ball's coming, do you? There may be a bit of that, but I don't think it's a downing of tools. I think there's a possible jet lag. I think there's a possible jet lag from Euros. He wouldn't be human if he didn't think about being the England captain lifting the international trophy, would he? He wouldn't have been, he would not have been human. There's one guy that's ever done that. So and in the same summer he thought he was going to get a move, it didn't. So he's got disappointment. But then I do think he's the type that's professional enough to pick it back up and go. But you do have to supply him. He's that type. I go back to one of my faves is Andy Cole, right? But Andy Cole, again, he's not nutmegging two players, flicking it over your head, dropping a shoulder, smashing it in the top hand corner. It was never his game. And even the Shearers of this world, headers and that, but that weren't their game. There's not there weren't not many. I know you guys won't like this, so there wasn't many Thierry Henrys going. Not many Messis going. That's not it. And I just think whoever comes in next for Spurs, right? I think as Tommy said, like Inter Milan's front three last year, at the time they were playing Sanchez behind Martinez and Lukaku. I think there was a few others that play. Eriksen, I think, was a little bit as well. He will get it right. The question is how attacking he is with his fullbacks. I think someone mentioned earlier about Victor Moses being a player that but he's a winger. I mean, I've seen some United fans go, "Oh yeah, Sancho's going to be playing right wing back." Sancho isn't the type, but I mean, there might be.
Bergwijn would be that one.
Maybe Lucas Moura.
Tommy didn't read it a while ago.
I don't know. Maybe Lucas Moura against the weaker teams. Could he play at a right side of a? I think he could. I mean, he works hard enough.
But our right backs will still need time. So Royal and Doherty was a wing back for Wolves. Yeah. So we signed him as a wing back. So it'd be Doherty and Royal there. Yeah. And this is the thing. Bergwijn can play there too. It'll be interesting if he does come in because he does, for some reason, he knows how to coach wing backs. It's very rare. Yeah. A lot of teams don't use wing backs. So he knows that role perfectly. But it's we're going to have to get rid of it. We're going to have to move some players on. We really are going to have to find a way to move players on.
He's a gap plugger as well. Just going back again, what we were saying, he'll be in there 2 minutes and be able to identify where he's missing someone. He's that type, right? And no, and that's serious. And that's why he will Ashley Young. That's why those players, because he knows it's come from a Premier League, which is probably a superior league, and he's plugged him in there. And Ashley Young could play right side, left side. He knew that value of that. I mean, I think he bought Darmian as well. Am I right in saying he got Darmian as well?
Yeah, he plays for.
I think they had him on loan. For like.
I mean, he basically came at a flash sale at our club, didn't he? I mean, but look, the answer to the question is I don't think Kane will be a problem if you get the ball in and around the box. You might have to sacrifice some of the defensive stability or lack of whatever for it, but you've got to get the ball forward. Yeah, you've got to get the ball forward. If your best player is your main striker, he has to touch the ball. It's just that simple.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think, Adam, on firstly Kane and also Son as well for that effect, and also Højbjerg's comment after the match was, I mean, it was obviously an issue, but for anyone who doesn't know, he said something along the lines of, even if my cleaning lady was the manager, I'd give 100%. Everyone should be, but not everyone is, and to that effect. So, I mean, that says to me that not everyone is trying, and that can either be because Nuno hasn't got the backing of the players and he's lost the players, or like we were saying earlier with Dele Alli, just don't care. But two questions for you, Kane and Son. Kane especially. What do you think's happened to him, and do you think it's tactical? Do you think it's mentality? And secondly, Højbjerg. What do you think he's getting at there?
Yeah, well, I agree with everyone else. I think with Kane, it's all tactical. Can you imagine how frustrating it would be for Kane seeing the ball go sideways, backwards, sideways, the whole bloody game? And you're making these runs or trying to make these runs. The ball's just not coming anywhere near you. I mean, it's got to be frustrating for him. And it's got to affect. I mean, as a striker, you're looking for that record. You just want to score goals. So you're not happy unless you scored a goal. It's going to have an effect on you, isn't it? So with Kane, I think most of it is tactical. His head may have gone down a little bit because he didn't get that move in the summer. But the tactics that we were playing, that Nuno was playing, it's no good for him. No good for him at all. With Son, I was a little bit frustrated with Son actually against Man United because the amount of corners we had and free kicks, and he couldn't beat the first man. It happened so many times, and you're like, you've got a chance here to get a good ball into the box for Kane or someone unchallenged, and you can't even beat the first man.
Well, he did it once, didn't he? It's just unfortunate that Romero was offside.
Definitely more than once. Definitely did it more than once, where you just couldn't beat the first man. And I mean, it's just so easy to defend. So easy.
Our goal scoring on set pieces is diabolical.
Awful.
Absolutely diabolical.
Our set
It's
pieces,
atrocious.
we haven't got them. We just haven't got them. There's no point in us having a set piece because we just don't put a good ball in the box. It just
Even
doesn't happen.
direct free kicks. Eric Dyer was taking our direct free kicks for 2 years. Shots on goal, Eric Dyer. Like, what? What's happening? What is happening to this
We had
football
Phil
club?
Jones taking corners for about 6-7 games. So I see you and I up
He's
you.
still there, isn't he? Is Phil
He's
still there?
still going, man.
He's still there,
He's got a
isn't he?
testimonial this year, I think. Testimonial year.
Yeah,
Bloody
10 years.
hell.
Isn't it?
No, I mean,
yeah.
one thing that I would just say about Spurs as well is when United signed Bruno Fernandes, right? He gives the ball away so much, Bruno Fernandes, but it is in an effort of always scoring a goal, right? So I see opposing fans get on all the time about Fernandes giving the ball away, right? Oh, he gives it away too much. You wouldn't see that from elite De Bruyne or whatever. Well, I mean, that ball to Ronaldo for the first goal the other day, that is a classic example of a Fernandes ball. Before we signed Fernandes, we didn't have a player that would play that ball, right? And
Well,
I
that's
think
our problem as well. That's our problem.
but that goes back to the Kane thing. That goes back to the Kane thing.
Yeah.
If Harry Kane knows he's got a player that will be making the ball, even if it's 6 times a game, right? And he's going to give it away 5, he will run 6 times. Right.
Yeah, I've been saying that for however long I've known you, Tommy, haven't I? Since we got rid of Eriksen. Like, if you don't have a playmaker and someone who players think they're going to find me here, they don't make the run because it's wasted energy.
And it's just belief.
That's the
it's
thing.
simple belief.
Got
Simple
some
belief.
news here. Got some news here. Sorry to cut you off, from Jamie. Where I don't know where he's found this. If you can let us know. It's been confirmed that Conte is at the training ground. I'm assuming to tell Levy to his face, I'm going back to Italy.
Newcastle.
Where did you find that? Was that a reputable source, Jamie, or was that a Twitter thing? That'd be good to know. But
But do you know what? That point with the number 10 is apt because I thought that as soon as I saw Man United after the first 2 months of Bruno Fernandes, everyone was saying, it's his penalties. No, it's his risk. He takes the risky ball on, not just the goals. He makes that risky ball more often than not. Maybe you get it wrong, but you need to find a player that can have that luxury. You have to enable them to fail. You have to give them the opportunity to fail, and to do that, sometimes you succeed. That's what I don't get. Ben Davies wasn't at fault for that goal. That was a ridiculous ball by Ronaldo Fernandes, and nobody expected Ronaldo to hit that first time, and that was incredible. That's an incredible number 10, and one of the greatest players to ever step foot on the planet. So nobody's to blame for some goals. That first goal, nobody's to blame, but the blame is the reaction, and there was no reaction. And the goals that came from that. And we played 4-3-3 most of the season. So not only do we not have a number 10 that can, thread the pass through, we don't have a number 10. We didn't have a number 10. So we had Ndombele recently, and I saw, as you say, Adam, I saw a frustrated figure in Kane. I saw a frustrated figure wherever Ndombele got on the ball. I think it was against Villa. We beat Villa, and it was Ndombele's first start at number 10. We've got to give him a little bit of credit. But he just couldn't find him. He was getting so frustrated. There was simple balls down the line at times, and he needs service. Any good striker in the world needs service. And he's almost the architect of his own downfall last season because he created so much coming deep. We expect him to create. We expect him to score. We expect him to assist. We expect him to header on the front post, on the near post, header balls away from corners on the near post. We expect so much of him because he's been so great. So when people say he's a bottle job, this, that, and the other, it's rubbish. 6-7 years, he's been unbelievable for this football club.
Yeah, it's not even that, is it? It's not even that. Like, he'll run the channels. He'll hold it up. I mean, I still think the best game I've seen Kane play was that game against City last season, where he just absolutely smashed those 2 centre backs apart. And they were there. I like Diaz and Laporte. They're decent. And it looked men against boys. And they, that was a really I'm not sure, I can't remember if he scored, but he just held everything up, and look, I don't think if you're Harry Kane is not Spurs' biggest problem. I think that goes without saying. I think you've got to play to people's strengths, man. It's that simple.
Yeah, I mean, Conte as well, Jamie's come back. Sky Sports News, staying at the training ground hotel. That's what he really wanted. He doesn't want
Who knows these things? Though? Who knows these
suite
things? Because whoever's releasing this stuff needs to be sacked, surely, don't they?
Yeah.
They need to be
According
sacked
to
because
Sky
they're giving
Sports
away.
News, from Jamie, though, to be confirmed tomorrow, and he's taking training tomorrow. I mean, that remains to be seen. I'm not convinced. But yeah, Adam Højbjerg, I mean, I wouldn't mind Højbjerg's comments if, he didn't play a ball to skip and trying to fire it at his midriff for whoever it was at United. I think Fernandes to come in and steal it and then give them the second goal. But he's been superfluous, Højbjerg.
I like
a year and a half. But
I'm not going to.
Do you think those comments? Who do you think they're aimed at?
Everyone else, probably.
Which players in particular? Because Son always runs about. Son always makes runs. I go back that pass from Lo Celso. I mean, I was more angry about that than every single one of the goals because it was so terrible. But he's always making runs, and Romero's obviously been really good since he's came in. But who do you think he's digging out in particular there, Højbjerg? Or do you think it's just a general kind of thing, like Tommy says, the reaction to going down 1-0, terrible?
Yeah, I think it's just a bit of frustration on his behalf. He's let his professionalism down a little bit there by saying his comments, and they're very sort of ambiguous comments. No one knows who he's talking about. I think it's just a bit of frustration, but I'm not going to knock Højbjerg. He's fantastic, I think, and he puts 100% in. He's probably one of the only players that does at the moment. So yeah, I'm not going to knock him, but I don't know who he was talking about. Probably the whole team after that performance.
I mean, who do you think he was talking about, Tommy? I mean, it is ambiguous, but Sir Alex Ferguson showed the world if you're going to dig someone out on TV, you're ambiguous, and then you dig them out to their face at the training ground or at the
Exactly.
In private.
Exactly.
Who do you think he's digging out, or do you think it's more a comment of the players just don't give a shit about Nuno anymore? And
it's got to be the latter. It's got to be the latter because if you look at the first team, what's Skip, Lucas, Kane, Son, you can't be digging those out. Surely Romero, Dyer, not very good. But I think they tried to almost sort of give it their best. But with this tactical approach that Nuno gives us, and the fact that we're just not good enough against some teams, we always look at ourselves, Tottenham. But there are clubs just better than us. West Ham have a better owner, better manager, better players. It's as simple as that. It's not always us doing badly. It's other clubs being better. But that comes from the transfer budget, releasing a higher transfer budget. So I don't think it's necessarily the players are not trying. I just don't think they're good enough. Quite frankly, I don't think they're necessarily good enough. But if that was aimed at anyone, it has to be the manager, doesn't it? It had to be the manager because the manager aimed it at them a few days before, didn't he? Saying some of the players in the squad are not good enough. So. Yeah, it's probably a bit of back and forth. As a manager says that, you're in trouble. When he starts digging out players, they're in your team's in trouble.
Jamie's got a different. His comments were meant for his cleaner, saying she's doing a poor job. That's why he said I can't say too much. I would absolutely love that. I would love that. I mean, it's been pretty depressing being a Spurs fan this season, but I'd love that if Pierre Højbjerg came out and said his cleaning lady weren't up to scratch. I'd love that.
I think the point is that when your club starts to sort of spread off into the managers getting at the players potentially getting at other players or the manager, you're not one anymore, are you? It feels like the beginning of an end. I mean, we had that United when Jose was there. He would rave about McTominay or whatever, but also like Fellaini, and the fans would be like, huh? Fellaini's just given away a penalty against Everton. He's like, but what performance, And then, and he'd come in and he would say, and he would say stuff like, we got no sporting heritage or something, because we just lost to Seville. And you think, but what I mean is, it felt like at that point, it was Jose Mourinho, the players, and the club, and then the fans, and all of a sudden, that's never going to work. I mean, you look at someone like Klopp. Everything is one.
That's exactly what Pochettino did. Exactly what Pochettino did, and what Moyes is doing at West Ham at the moment. It's the club. There's no the players, the manager, the fans, the board. It's the club. And I mean, Matt, we talk about Højbjerg's coming there. Adam says it's a bit unprofessional, which probably it is, but it's not Roy Keane going on Man United TV and then literally digging someone out on live television. But what we don't have, which you had there, is obviously the greatest manager that's ever going to be in my lifetime. But as soon as something went wrong there or a player got out of line, get out, you're out of the club. He was in charge, whereas we've got Levy. It didn't matter with Ferguson how much money they went for, essentially, as long as they get some money. I mean, Beckham went for 23 million or something silly like that, but obviously football's a lot different there in terms of the money. But it sets the precedent, doesn't it? I mean, that was one of Alex Ferguson's greatest traits. I mean, he had about 1,500, let's face it. But he was in charge. I'm in charge. You're not in charge. I'm in charge. You get out of line, you get out.
Yeah,
We've got too many players who are, not pulling their weight. We've got the manager saying they're not pulling your weight. We've got a chairman who says, well, they're not pulling their weight, but they're only offering 20 million and he's worth 700.
Ben's spot on with the Mourinho comparison. Like your situation at the moment is, you can compare it to Jose Mourinho's United. You can't really compare it to Fergie's because there was Keane had such high standards that as soon as they slipped, people were knowing about it. But I don't really know too much about what Højbjerg said. I kind of saw something briefly, but I don't know the full extent of what he said. But
it was just literally that he was questioning the attitude of the players. It sounded like all what Tommy said. It's the players aren't trying because the manager they don't care about. But it was like my cleaning lady. If my cleaning lady was the manager, I'd try my hardest. Other players.
It's got to be both, hasn't it? It's got to be a bit of both there, probably, because he's basically said the manager's a cleaning lady. He's basically said the manager's a cleaning lady, and he said that the players aren't good enough. So
whoever's coming in has got a big job, haven't they?
I mean, Jamie is really setting himself up for falling. I'm looking forward to a manager going mental on the sidelines. That is what we need in a manager like Conte. Not a man when we are goal down, he strokes his beard. I'm excited.
But this is the thing.
You mentioned Sir Alex. For our sake, Jamie, Sky Sports News aren't just doing the journalist thing to get people watching their show. But I mean, we pretty much come to the end. We're pretty much repeating everything now if we go over stuff. And to be honest, I don't want to go over the game again because it was awful. We've spoken about it enough. But thanks, guys, so much for coming on. The Man United guys, it's good that I'm friends with you because I know that you wouldn't be that horrible. And give me a lot of crap. And
we're still a work in progress, also. So we know our place.
It's not a time to get cocky.
No, maybe not. But it was still a battering loss, and then But Adam, thanks as always. I'm not doing a stream on Friday. I'm actually doing a stadium tour. I got it paid for me. I didn't want to say it when Brian was on it.
It's a good job you fucking didn't say it when Brian was on it. Oh,
Howard.
Well, if you get a hanky from the merchandise shop, you're in trouble. You know what I'm saying?
But from the time Brian hears this, he'll be on a plane, so he won't hear it.
You live streaming that, Chris?
No. I'm not doing an Everton preview, but then all my previews I say that we'll win, and then we end up losing, so it might be a good thing. But Tommy, pleasure as always. Hopefully we get the news that we wanted and what Jamie says is actually true with Conte staying at the training ground and then training next tomorrow. I mean, like we said, you did a stream yesterday where Nuno was waiting to be fired. I've done the stream where he is fired, and then someone will do a stream tomorrow where Conte or whoever it is hired. But,
Ryan Mason.
He's
not been mentioned once.
Neil Whitley has been appointed on a short term.
Do you know, I was going to say something. I was going through the stream. As we were going through the stream, I was saying, I've got a funny feeling Mason might be there till Christmas till January because Conte will not come in unless he gets the budget. So Conte could be there for 2 months, work his magic, and then not get the transfer budget and be like, okay, fuck off, you haven't given me the transfer budget. So he'll want the transfer budget straight away in January. Mason till I've heard that. I've heard Mason till Christmas.
Yeah,
So I wouldn't be too into that, but
it remains to be seen. It'll probably be. We said yesterday that Nuno had been fired. It just wasn't official, and then obviously this morning about 10 o'clock it was made official. So let's just hope that Conte's deal has been signed. It's just not official until tomorrow. But Tommy Talks Ball, TTB. That's your channel. Anyone who watches this should know by now where to find that. It's in the description anyway. But for people who don't know, tell us a bit about your channel. Where can people find it?
Yeah, I stream quite a lot, like 4 or 5 days a week. Chris, you're always involved. I do previews of other fans, like the Man United fans you got on today. It was actually weird because on Friday, the Man United, the chap I was doing it with, the Connor, I was saying that we don't want Conte either, which I was shocked when they said he didn't want Conte, but I think Ben, you said that as well. Like we'll be celebrating for the next 3 years if we get Conte tomorrow. Like it'd be madness.
18 months because Pochettino's back.
If he gets sacked in 2 months, we'll still be celebrating. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ridiculous. But TTB, Tommy Talks Ball, and tomorrow night, hopefully 9:15, Conte will be announced. So you can join me 9:15. I'll have a plethora of guests on. So Tommy Talks Ball YouTube channel, but not. Go over there, subscribe if you haven't already done so, but not before you subscribe to Chris, and smash those likes. Make sure you get those likes up. So cheers for having me. It's been good. It's been good. It's been good fun.
Pleasure having everyone on here as always. Ben, wasn't sure if you were going to come on, but been good having you on, and it's good to actually essentially everything you've said is what you text me over the last 4 months, so I know exactly what you're saying. But and Matt, pleasure as always. Great to have you on, and for people who don't know the background that you see there, it all came about because of Matt helping me with video editing and photo editing. So he's a part of the show, even though he doesn't that often. But cheers guys, and like I said with the United fans, even though you kind of said that you can't really brag, it was nice that you didn't brag. Mike on last week, West Ham fan, was bragging a little bit, which cup final, but so it was good to have you guys on and have a chat. But he wasn't too bad, Mike. But he got a bit excited about the fact that he beat Tottenham. But I don't know any Everton fans really, so there'll be a show on Monday after the game. But like I say, there won't be a Friday.
They're hard to get hold of. The Everton fans are really, really difficult to get hold of. Yeah, man, it's weird. But I'll try and have one.
Hopefully we can win that. I mean, we've got Vitesse in midweek, which we have to win that, really. I mean, we've got to win both our games in this Conference League to really guarantee to stay. And we might get lucky if we win one and don't win another one. But hopefully we get the manager in that we wanted, whether it's Conte, whether it's not. Who knows? But let's hope what Jamie says is right, and that Conte is at the training ground has been pretty much signed, sealed, delivered. It's just waiting to be.
I've got this lovely vision of Conte just like cozied up on a sofa with a little blanket, like in the training ground, like just like waiting. I'm going to sign in the morning. He gives me that extra 100 million.
It's more of an image that he's gone in and go, what the. Call this a king-size fucking bed? It's a single.
It's like hitting the vending machine at like 1 a.m. going, the Maltesers are stuck.
I asked for room service half an hour ago. But
just sleeping in the reception area.
Let's just hope we get an attacking manager in and get Kane and Son firing, because anyone in football really knows this. Tottenham's best players are the attacking too. So if you want to win games, you've got to get them on the ball.
And we all want you to finish above Arsenal, right? So there you go. At the very least, they're getting a bit cocky again, isn't they? They're getting a bit cocky again, aren't they? So
save yourself, Ben. You can come back on. Cheers, guys. Cheers as always. Make sure you hit the like. Make sure you hit the subscribe. Then go over to Tottenham on Tour and Tommy Talks Ball. Do the same thing there. Be back on Monday after the Everton game. For love of God, let me have something to cheer about and actually talk happily about, and can talk about the new managers, hopefully, who we all want. So, till then, it's been a tough couple of days, but come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Spurs.
See you later, guys.
Thank you so much for watching. For everybody who participated in the live chat and added comments, before you go, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Anybody who couldn't watch the live video, you can still catch us on YouTube. Add any comments, suggestions or questions to the comments section on the video. Anybody who's listened to the audio-only podcast, thank you so much for listening. Anybody who wants the audio-only podcast, you get this wherever you get your podcast from. Alternatively, if you go to Twitter, @Talk Tottenham, you'll find all the information there. We'll be back soon. We're live Mondays, 8 p.m, Fridays, 12:30 UK time. Until then, come on, you Spurs!